The house had never felt so silent, yet so loud with accusation, as the moment Michael Carter pushed open the door to his master bedroom after a 14-hour flight. The powerful millionaire, feared in boardrooms across the United States, froze in the doorway as his eyes fell on the impossible sight before him. A young black maid lay asleep on his bed, her body curled protectively around 3 tiny babies, all breathing softly under the dim glow of the bedside lamp. In that single second, exhaustion vanished, anger surged, and a question thundered through his chest that would change every life in that room forever. Before the story unfolds any further, pause for a moment. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of compassion that can change a human heart, please like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach the hearts that need them most. Michael had built his life on control over time, money, people, and outcomes. At 42, he owned a chain of logistics companies stretching from California to New York, yet his mansion in Connecticut felt more like a hotel than a home. His wife, Rebecca, had died during childbirth 3 months earlier, leaving him with triplet sons he barely knew how to hold. Overwhelmed by grief and responsibility, Michael buried himself in work, hiring a live-in maid through an agency to care for the babies while he escaped into meetings and airports. He never bothered to learn much about her, except that her name was Naomi Brooks, and that she came highly recommended. Naomi's life before that house had been a narrow hallway of closed doors. At 26, she carried more pain than most people twice her age. Her parents had passed in a car accident when she was a teenager, and she had bounced between relatives who never quite wanted her. She took whatever work she could find, cleaning houses, washing dishes, surviving quietly. When she accepted the position in the Carter mansion, she saw it not as an opportunity for comfort, but for stability. What she did not expect was 3 motherless infants whose cries echoed with the same loneliness she had carried her whole life. The night Michael returned early was not a night of carelessness. One of the triplets, named Lucas, had spiked a fever. Naomi had spent hours pacing the nursery, rocking all 3 boys in turns until her arms shook. When the fever finally broke, exhaustion overtook her. She lay on the edge of the master bed, the only place large enough to keep the babies warm and close, fearing that if she left them alone, something terrible might happen. Sleep came like a sudden collapse. Michael's first instinct was rage. His mind leapt to betrayal, to crossed boundaries, to the humiliation of an employee invading the one space he still associated with his late wife. He took a step forward, ready to shout, to demand explanations, to fire her on the spot. Then one of the babies stirred. Naomi shifted in her sleep, her arm instinctively tightening around the infants, her face etched with exhaustion and tenderness. In that fragile movement, Michael saw something he had refused to face in himself. Care, sacrifice, love given without condition. He stood there for a long time, memories crashing into him. Rebecca's laughter in that same bed, her hands resting on her pregnant belly, her whispered fears about not living to see her children grow. Michael had promised he would be there for them. Yet here he was, a stranger in his own home, while another woman carried the weight he had abandoned. The anger drained from him, replaced by shame so sharp it made his chest ache. Over the following days, Michael began to watch rather than command. He noticed how Naomi spoke to the babies even when they could not understand, how she sang soft hymns while warming bottles, how she flinched whenever he entered a room, expecting blame. He learned that she slept only a few hours each night, refusing help from the night nurse because she did not trust anyone else to respond quickly enough to the boys' cries. Slowly, the mansion felt less like a museum of grief and more like a living home. Michael's internal struggle became unbearable. He was a man praised for generosity in public, yet emotionally bankrupt in private. One evening, after returning from work earlier than usual, he found Naomi asleep again, this time on the nursery floor, her back against the crib, one hand reaching through the bars to touch the babies. Something broke open inside him. He realized that wealth had protected him from hunger, not from loss. Naomi understood loss intimately, and yet she chose love every day. He began to change in small, awkward ways. He canceled late meetings to come home before sunset. He learned how to hold each child, memorizing the subtle differences in their cries. He started asking Naomi about her life, her dreams, her faith. The walls between employer and employee softened into something human. Michael increased her salary without explanation, added paid days off she never took, and eventually set up a college fund for her education, insisting she deserved more than survival. The true turning point came when one of the triplets, named Aaron, stopped breathing during the night. Panic tore through the house. Naomi's quick action saved the child before paramedics arrived. As Michael watched his son carried back from the edge of death, gratitude overwhelmed him. In that moment, he understood that Naomi was not just a maid. She was family. She was the answer to prayers he had been too angry to pray. Before the ending, take a second and write a comment right now. Share what you think Michael should do next, or simply type one word that describes how this story makes you feel. Months passed, and the house transformed. Laughter replaced echoes. Michael took parental leave, something his executives never imagined he would do. He publicly acknowledged Naomi's role in saving his son, offering her a permanent position not as staff, but as guardian and partner in raising the boys. He helped her enroll in nursing school, inspired by her natural ability to care and protect. Naomi, once invisible, stood taller, her life unfolding with dignity. On the first birthday of the triplets, the mansion filled with light. Balloons floated where sorrow once lingered. Michael watched Naomi laugh with the children, and for the first time since Rebecca's death, he felt peace instead of pain. He knew that love did not always arrive in expected forms. Sometimes it came quietly, wearing exhaustion, sleeping on the edge of a bed, holding together what others had let fall apart. As the sun set over the Connecticut hills, Michael held his sons close, gratitude washing over him like a blessing. He had come home expecting betrayal and found redemption instead. He had learned that true wealth was not measured in money, but in mercy. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that compassion can rise from the most unexpected places, please like, comment, and share this video. Subscribe to the channel to keep stories of hope alive. Your engagement means more than you know, because somewhere, someone is waiting to believe that kindness can still change everything.